So, since you guys stuck around, like I said, we have some very special things because you guys stayed through the whole movie. First of all, I want to thank Paramount for this awesome screening. Everybody, right? So let's just before we bring out our special guest, there's some special T-shirts from the movie, and for those of you that answer questions during the Q&A or ask questions during the Q&A, sir, you guys will get a free T-shirt. But forget about free T-shirts. Let's bring out the director of the movie, Dan Trachtenberg. Oh man!
Yeah.
That's a something.
Nice to meet you.
Dude, thank you. Oh my goodness, you're wearing a Radio
Hello.
Man 70 shirt.
I know the Radio Man.
Also, is your hat in game?
Not in game. The movie, by the way, is in game.
The whole
movie's
movie,
in
Yeah.
game.
top to bottom.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Dude, I feel like you're so far away from us.
Yeah, we should get
Be
further.
Scooch?
Closer. Let's
Closer.
get further away.
Didn't want to be too invasive.
So, okay. First of all, what a freaking amazing movie, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying.
Great job, right, guys?
Yeah.
How do you feel? I was just listening on the flight back here
Yeah.
to your thoughts on. You feel like you had figured it out,
I had some theories.
but it wasn't.
I have theories
I thought you were
day
going to
one.
nail it too, and I was terrified. But you didn't quite.
No. Thank God. Usually, and especially if you haven't listened to any of the other podcasts, I got a lot of theories. All of them are wrong. So, which really helps me when the movie actually comes out. I get to be surprised and enjoy the movie, and this was no different. Had none of this figured out at all.
I don't think anybody got it right? Anybody who had theories, none of them were even close.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like some people got close to. What's your hat? What's going on with your hat?
My hat?
Yeah.
It's
I'm not
going,
wearing a hat.
going
Don't make me
squatching. Just for when you go squatching. Every once in a while you go out to the woods, feeling, hey man, let's go squatching. You want to go squatching?
Anybody squatch here?
We're looking for Sasquatch. Squatch? There we go. This man knows what I'm talking about. What about your hat? Tell us about your hat.
This is official. This is Bad Robot's in-house post department, Kelvin Optical, that did everything in this movie. They did sound, they did the visual effects, and we did all the editorial, all in Bad Robot's offices.
That's all. Was that also the name of the gas station?
Yeah, Kelvin is, like Slusho, it's, I believe it's JJ's grandfather, his name was Kelvin, and so there's a Kelvin in every single one of his movies. There's the USS Kelvin in Star Trek, there's the Kelvin gas station in Super 8, and now there's a Kelvin gas station in this as well.
All right, so wait, before we get into like the movie and picking your brain about all this cool stuff that just happened on screen, let's get a little bit of you out of the way. Let's do you real quick. You started off sort of doing the Totally Rad show. Was that kind of like your first thing?
Yeah,
Say?
I actually, before doing that, I was directing commercials when I first moved out to LA, and I started a podcast in my brother's basement.
Heard of them?
called Geekdrome. And I was a big fan of Dig Nation. I was a big fan of
Oh, rest in peace.
and all those tech TV guys. So I started this podcast, and strangely, we started talking about the Clerks 2 trailer, and we got something wrong about it, and got an email from someone claiming to be Kevin Smith. And my buddy was like, I think we just got an email from Kevin Smith. I'm like, I think you think we got that email, but I'm sure it's not him. Because his email was suspiciously, I won't say it now, but it felt like someone would have made that up to be Kevin Smith.
Was it like, I'm definitely not Kevin
No,
Smith at
it's just
Gmail or at
Clerks2 at
Hotmail?
AOL.com.
It was an AOL address.
Yahoo?
But it turned out to be Kevin Smith, and he was stoked to come on our show that like 5 people were listening to, and the whole time he was asking us what's a podcast. He was so fascinated with it, and that's how he learned about podcasting.
Wait,
Started
maybe
his own thing.
maybe it's because of you that there's even the Smodcast
Oh,
network.
100%.
That's awesome.
He's said that, yeah.
You get those residual checks every once in a while?
Getting
or
those
just-
residuals, but
No residues?
But so then that ended, and then I started up the Totally Rad show, that we did for 5 years and went to Comic-Con every year. And
were any of you guys Totally Rad Show fans at all? Anybody? There we go. That's cool. This guy right here.
smattering.
This guy came dressed up.
Awesome. But I always wanted to make movies, and like I said, I was doing commercials, but the commercials that I was doing were very like slice of life, emotional, documentary style, not big and cinematic, and ultimately like the kind of movie that I wanted to make. So I decided to do a short film based on the video game Portal.
Seen it? Anybody seen that? Portal No Escape? Great short film.
And that really caught people's attention, and I started developing movie stuff, and then and was going in and out of Bad Robot, pitching things. Then this script became a thing that needed a director.
So when you got this script, there's all sorts of stories about kind of like where the Cloverfield aspect of it was injected into the script, and I've read a lot of interviews and such. I mean, can you set the record straight? Like, when did the Cloverfield name kind of become a part of this,
Right.
and everyone was like, okay, this is going to be part of this Cloververse?
Mm-hmm. From the get-go for me, originally Bad Robot acquired this spec script called The Cellar, and JJ and his producers and Damien Chazelle, a writer, developed that into something that could fit into the Cloververse. It was basically the movie that you saw today was the script that they developed and then sent to me. So even when I first read it, it had all the big beats that occurred. It had that crazy ending and everything. I then spent a year developing it a little bit further, and the title didn't come. We were always trying to hone in on what the best title could be. And then one day JJ nailed this 10 Cloverfield Lane thing, which I thought was so perfect because it to me sounds like a Twilight Zone episode, and this is very much a giant Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I love about this movie, and I'm a huge old school Twilight Zone fan. Sorry I didn't like the Forrest Whitaker one. Did you guys ever watch that one? There was
like the 80s.
No, there was a 2000s Twilight Zone. There was an 80s one as well, but there was a Forrest
We're
Whitaker.
talking about the classics.
We're talking about the classics, the Thanksgiving Marathon Twilight Zone.
Right.
And this totally has a Twilight Zone feel to it. So does that mean that this kind of Cloverfield name is really now going to be synonymous with kind of like a Twilight Zone-esque anthology
Yeah,
series,
I think
or?
it's sort of part anthology and part something much bigger that only time and JJ will tell.
Good, another 8 years, you think?
Well, this movie came out of nowhere,
Right.
and who knows, there might be another one ready to pop any minute now.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's roll it, you guys.
let's see the next one.
There's a whole other movie.
But I mean, what was it like keeping this movie a secret? Because you must have been working on this movie for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then it's literally like 4 months before the movie comes out, we get our first trailer.
Yeah.
Was it 4 months, or was it like 2 months? Jesus. Yeah, so
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
that like, keeping this thing a secret?
It was really annoying because I love talking about movies. I had a career talking about movies, and here I was making my first movie, and I could not say anything to anyone. So that was excruciating. But the cool is now people get to go see the movie, and all my friends and loved ones, and they get to be surprised by it, which is the way that it was all intended anyway. So. Yeah.
You could stop lying to the people that you care about the most, I think is the most important part.
Did you ever tell them, you're like, yeah, I'm working with Bad Robot, making a Star Wars movie? No big deal.
By the way, I met you.
Yeah, at that Back to the Future event.
Amidst the secret being kept, and I was plain as day. I said, we're making a Bad Robot movie. And you were like,
that's how
oh, that's really
Peter-
cool. Anyway.
And Peter,
yeah.
that's the thing, like Peter from Slash Film, Peter Shredda, is that how his last name is pronounced? Scaretta?
Soretta, yeah.
Soretta. Anyway, he introduced us and was like, this is my friend Dan, he's making a movie at Bad Robot, and I was like, oh, cool! And I was trying to play off that cool, like, oh yeah, no worries, bro, making a movie with Bad Robot. But later, Mike was like, oh, I would have been like, is it Cloverfield? Is it another Cloverfield?
The only question.
I was trying to play it cool, but yeah, I was really nerding out on the inside, obviously.
Right.
See, my thing is, I got enough friends, right? So if you think I'm crazy by asking you a million Cloverfield questions, I'm like, okay, I'll go hang out with Dan, or another Dan, different Dan, Steve, whoever. Doesn't matter.
Right.
I would have ruined our relationship first night. This would not have happened.
What did you think of Cloverfield. Like and like, it's strange because there are definitely connections to the Cloverfield universe that was originally established in Cloverfield,
Right.
and the ARG that came before it. We've got our slush show in the beginning of the movie, which I thought was super rad, and then we got to see the Bold Futura letter. You guys saw
Yeah,
that?
did you guys all notice that?
You guys notice that? This guy with the Cloverfields t-shirt noticed it.
That guy knows.
Bootleg.
That observant-looking guy knows.
But what did you think of Cloverfield? I mean, I know there's some Paramount people here, but I mean, you could be honest with us. And what did you think of Cloverfield?
I'm not a huge found footage fan, mostly because I get very motion sick. But I loved that it was a very unique take on a familiar genre, and that it was very experiential. And that was the thing that I really wanted this movie to be as well. I think it's also a very unique take on a familiar genre. Just its structure is what's unique as opposed to its format. But I really wanted this also to be something that you feel like you just experienced rather than merely watched. And I'm as you guys sort of know, I'm a really hardcore gamer. I love video games, and I've been so inspired by especially third-person action adventure games recently, like the Uncharted and Last of Us most recently. If you think about the original Cloverfield, is told in that first-person perspective, so it's the shorthand into feeling like you're really experiencing it. And first-person video games have that shorthand as well. But what's so great about the third-person games, when they're so well designed, even though you're looking at that character model, you still feel like I'm experiencing everything that little dude is experiencing. So I went through great lengths to make this movie feel the same. Even though we were looking at Michelle the whole time, you always feel like you know what she's thinking and feel everything that she's feeling. So
I thought you nailed that, especially when you had her perspectives while she's wearing her handmade gas mask. And then, those were some super intense moments, because I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in a movie where you're like, it's almost frustrating in a way because you want to see it from the outside perspective.
Right.
But we were right there with her in
Right.
the mask, and it really gave you a new perspective I don't think we've really seen in a movie before.
Sunshine had a little, which we
Yeah, but that movie sucks.
Yeah.
We're talking about a good movie here. No, I'm just kidding. Sunshine.
I love Sunshine.
No, it's a great movie. Speaking
Why
of,
do you hate Sunshine so much?
And that's what this is all about. I'm talking about why I don't like Sunshine. Don't give me any shit. I like Sunshine.
Everybody, one by one.
Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Boyle is here.
Oh shit, it's an intervention. So speaking of the video game stuff, do you feel like this could be turned into some sort of video game, or do you think there could be there's always like bad spin-off video games from movies, but I feel like you really could turn this into a video game.
I mean, it would be like this is sort of obscure, but that game Gone Home. I don't know if you guys have played Gone Home or Firewatch now, because
right?
Like an old text adventure game.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
especially
Badass.
when you're in the bunker, or
Right.
in
To get certain
Yeah.
supplies.
Right.
Open yield bunker door. Something like that.
Well, the
Yeah.
site, the ARG site, kind of had that.
Right, the Oregon
that kind of
Trail thing.
Yeah. I thought
totally.
that was super rad.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, man, what the hell was it like working with John Goodman? I mean, the man's a legend.
Especially his face.
What was it?
What was it like?
Well,
Working
with
by
him.
the way, that barrel smelled delicious.
Listen, it was so hard.
Yeah.
It was so hard. I wanted to make a fart noise when he opened the door.
I know. That's the one thing I was like, oh man, that scene is a really, I hope you guys found intense scene. And I just thought, oh man, this might be the one screening where that does not work, because everyone's going to be laughing the entire
There were a
time.
couple giggles,
Right.
but they went away real fast.
I mean, because once you discover what's in there and what his plans are with that,
Right.
you're like, oh, that's not farts.
No.
And that's not a joke.
No.
But I wanted to make a fart noise.
Basically, one of my many incorrect theories was that blue barrel was filled with John Goodman's farts. Not the case, as we all know now.
I love how
We
people
all
are
experienced
like,
it
what
together.
are you talking about?
Yeah, I felt the need to catch everybody up real quick.
Yeah. But anyway, so what was it like? I mean, directing John Goodman. This
Yeah.
is your first feature film,
Yeah.
too. So were you nervous?
I was nervous. Yeah, I'm a human. So I was nervous. And especially because the role is also very intense and intimidating, and sometimes it was hard to tell if he was in game or not, if he was in character upset or if he was like flipping out at me.
Pissed off about craft service.
Right. No, he's
No pretzels!
He's a really sweet dude, and all those nerves went away very quickly. And he really loved being directed. Much to my chagrin, every time I discussed stuff with him and found him doing the things that I had saw, it was never as good as when he just sort of went off the cuff and grabbed he really was like a Jackie Chan of acting, and like if there was a wooden spoon, he would grab it and start twirling it around, or any of that stuff that made it so weird and peculiar and awesome.
You kind of just let him play with the script because he's so, like, you just feel like he knows what he's doing, and it's like for me, I would be like, okay, you're gonna do this scene your way. That's it. I'm the director. It doesn't matter. You're gonna do it your way.
Yeah.
Was it hard to be like, can you try it this way, or was he like, were you scared?
It wasn't hard because he was really stoked to work that way, and we rehearsed it for a week or two before we started shooting, like a play. So in that sense, it was a great collaboration, but he did improv a ton, and John Gallagher for Emmett as well improv a ton. Most of his winners were him. The line about taking the pilgrimage to Waco was something that he just thought to say to John Goodman one day, and was terrifying to watch that happen live. But yeah, we improv a ton, but the script was also very tightly written as well. So it was a combination of working traditionally and then improving.
Was it scary when John Goodman would yell on the set? Because I feel like I was scared.
That table smack,
right?
Was every time that thing scared the shit out of us. Yeah.
That's the only thing that took me out of the movie. The table's a family heirloom. You're not going to pound on a family heirloom.
I mean,
that's how mad he was. That's how mad he was.
Ignored it. Yeah. All right, let's open up to some questions from the audience now.
We got some mics coming around.
We got a lot of questions here.
Everyone gets a mic. Look under your seat.
This in-game woman over here.
In-game shirt.
Look at this woman wearing in-game around her neck. Are you in-game, though? All right, let's go ahead. Let's see. Go ahead.
She turns into an alien. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
I know it's a little early seeing that the movie just ended, but there's a new post on Fun and Pretty Things. And can you tell us about that, or are we just going to have to figure that out?
What is it? You got to tell us what it is.
You want me to
be a
read it?
live thing right now. You just figure it out.
Okay, well, it's posted by NR, and it says, "My friend, please forgive my intrusion on this personal site. But time is of the essence, and I needed somewhere away from prying eyes and ears. Throughout the years, we have danced along a fine line between enemies and friends. But I have always respected you as a colleague and taken you seriously. Even though they have tried to silence us both, the dance always continues. You know the steps," and then it has a link to a MP3 file, and it's signed off NR.
What's the MP3 file?
I think
It's like
song.
So it's music and then it's a bunch of dudes like
little beep sounds.
Can you describe the dudes?
I can't do that.
How many dudes would you say?
It's about 2.5 minutes long.
Oh,
well,
So it's like music and then dudes.
Were
and
you
then
listening
music.
to it while the movie
Yes,
was playing?
during the credits actually.
Well, she's in game. I
I'm
mean,
in
clearly she's in game.
Clearly.
Well, I mean, you're a busy man.
Busy man.
Did you have any involvement in the ARG?
A little bit.
Yeah.
And JJ also had quite a bit of hand in it, but at the same time, there's people over at Paramount and people in-house at Bad Robot that were concocting.
Killing it.
And that game, that Oregon Trail game, was made by one dude at Bad Robot.
God.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Is this new? I don't know anything about the new update tonight. This means I'm going to have to rush home and figure out what the hell's going on.
This also means we can't end the podcast now that the movie came out.
We certainly
Other
can't.
stuff to talk about.
What about this guy down here? Yeah. What's the question?
Hello. So you guys have kind of attached yourself to the Cloverfield universe, and obviously at the end, Michelle has a little bit more of a quest. Can we expect anything more from this story?
I think the question is it for me or for these guys?
Well, I can say yes.
there's-
There
I
is.
mean,
Honestly, let's let them
podcast.
answer first and see what they think.
Well,
and then
I'd
you
love
can
to see a
answer.
sequel. Would you guys like to see a sequel to this movie? What do you think? Do you think this is a continuing adventure, or what's going on?
I mean, I think both answers I could give are equally cool. I think we always sort of felt like this is a really cool origin story, much in the way Alien was for Ripley and Terminator was for Sarah Connor. But at the same time, because of that, I think it would be just as badass if like that was all you got from her, and knowing what she then has to undertake, but it being left for us to have in just this standalone movie. And I think that would also be kind of like a gauntlet thrown down, saying we don't need to make a sequel to that, But
we know what
the sequel would
happens.
be awesome.
She stops off at the liquor store. She gets a bunch more bottles of whatever, a couple more rags, and then it's like a 5-minute montage of her throwing stuff in a monster's mouth.
I feel like in keeping with the Twilight Zone-esque feel to it, the Twilight Zone episodes didn't really have continuations, so I think it would be okay. However, sad if we didn't get a sequel. Where are we at? Let's get someone over here. How about this guy, Mr. Glasses? Oh, they're all the way up there. Let's get this guy. Right
Everyone in the room has glasses.
We'll get glasses in a sec.
Yeah, so great movie, just to say. I thought Mary Winston did an awesome job. I'm just curious, though, did you have anybody else in mind? Maybe Jennifer Lawrence? Anybody at all?
No one specific.
Mary, I thought of pretty quickly, and what was exciting was that she wasn't Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence has already been doing these action-y things, and I love the idea that it could be a moment for someone that we didn't perceive that way to become a warrior through the forge of this movie, So, yeah, but she's awesome.
Was Tiffany Amber Thiessen's name ever?
Just thrown around.
Only in my dreams.
We haven't seen her in that type of. Let's ask her the
point.
question.
What about Betty White? How about this woman standing here?
Me?
Yes, you. Oh wait, who said that?
The one who's on her way out already.
You sounded like you said me into the microphone without a microphone up to your mouth.
Oh, I can project.
Go for
I
it.
can completely project.
You're amazing.
Thanks. So, out of curiosity, I know this is your first feature film. Is that correct?
Yes.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Absolutely. Killed it.
What is your plans now? Are you planning on directing a similar kind of movie next, or are you going towards a different genre? What are you looking to direct?
Well, we really just finished this like
Get
a
some
few days
sleep.
ago.
Yeah.
Have you
literally like hours before the first screening of it in New York. So all my energy was put into making this movie happen. There were movies that I had in development before this that I would love to get back to. I have a really cool science fiction heist movie that I'm dying to make, and but now I'll be reading other things and writing other things, and hopefully more cool stuff soon for sure.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Very cool.
Thank you. Who do we have next? Where did Mike go? Look at this guy with his hand real raised up. You look intense, sir. Go ahead.
Behind you for the mic.
There's the microphone.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jorge.
Hi.
So I just was wondering, this is your first feature. How was it working with Jeff, and how was the collaboration with your cinematographer?
Jeff Cutter, the DP.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, like, how were the shots, like, storyboard-wise? I mean, was it a collaboration of you and him, or just based off the video game aspect? I mean, like.
I've been a huge fan of his for a long time. He started out doing music videos and commercials. He did really cool Linkin Park video back in the day with Mark Romanek. It was all them in concert against the lights. I don't know if you guys have ever seen.
Was that with the bullet hole lights and stuff, or was that a different video? What's that?
Faint?
Fate.
What
Fate.
was that one?
Is that the bullet hole lights and stuff? Yeah. Or is that a different band?
Different.
What am I thinking?
You're thinking of
It's a different one.
Am I thinking of that Korn?
Jim Blossom.
Jim Korn.
I'm totally thinking of that Korn
video and Todd McFarlane cartoon.
Let's just talk about Korn now. Yeah, great band.
You guys like corn?
Anyone? Anyway, so you were just thinking.
Oh wait, Dayton Ferris directed that video.
Oh, there
Dayton
you
Ferris
go.
did Little Miss Sunshine. And stuff.
What?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
All right.
But
Before
Jeff,
you move on,
Jeff was awesome, and we became fast friends. We actually found out in New Orleans that we both loved Dark Souls, the video game Dark Souls, and yeah, it was amazing.
Did you guys like collaborate based off of that kind of feel, or?
We talked a lot about movies like Rosemary's Baby, because that movie is all through that main character's POV. We never see anything else, and this movie was the same, but still had to be suspenseful. We looked at like movies like The Hunt for Red October and Crimson Tide, sub-movies, because those are also very contained, but feel huge, which we wanted this movie to feel as well. And a lot of David Fincher stuff, like Seven was very inspirational.
Nice.
And Raiders of the Lost Ark is always...
And besides that, I mean, like, during each take, I mean, where did you guys hide? I mean, like, it's very close corners, I mean...
Yeah, we built the set as one giant piece, so it wasn't like one stage has one room and the other stage has another room. So, like, towards the end of the bunker section, there's a shot that travels from one room and goes all the way through. But we did have flyaway walls, so we could do more intricate shots. Like the first shot of her waking up in the bunker is all one thing that starts on her face and then pulls all the way around, and that had to be this choreographed dance between the camera spinning around, and then Grips had to fly the wall away, and then the camera came back around and they flew the wall back in. It was this crazy thing. It was the first shot we did of the entire movie. The first shot of me making a movie, and we did like 16 takes of that. It was like as tense as you may have been watching it. It was way more tense than me trying to like actually get one shot done of a movie, period, with everyone breathing over my neck. It was pretty insane.
How much shorter would the movie have been if Megan knew, or if Mew knew about the flyaway walls? She never even thought to push on a wall.
Lucked out.
She could just push
She
the walls.
could just push through.
Right. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, give the walls a push.
I have some questions for you guys.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
What you had so many theories, like
So
just
many
just you saying Megan. I was like, oh, I remember when you guys thought maybe Michelle was Megan.
Right.
There
Maybe
was
she
a
would
time.
wake up. Like what do you think of all the things that you thought throughout?
Oh, they're all stupid. I think everything I thought was stupid.
No, I feel like some of the things you guys said were kind of spot on in some cases.
I mean, it's hard to like watch a movie that you have no idea where it's going, and it's so tense. So on top of you're like, oh, I know where this is going. Like every time I think I know where it's going, it just takes a total U-turn. And so it was very difficult to kind of like think of my theories in line with what was happening. So for the first time in a very long time, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna sit back and just soak it in, because I don't think I'm gonna guess anything. And I really couldn't. I really couldn't guess any of these moments happening before they did.
And I was the opposite, and I was wrong. Over and over and over again, I was wrong. But it added to the enjoyment of it.
I feel bad for the person in the very, 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 very back, but before you guys run up with your mics, just go ahead and yell it. You over there waving your hand. Yeah, not you, sir. The one behind you.
The guy in the projection booth.
There you go. All the way back there. Just scream it.
All right. If I had money on the notion that the aliens were bug exterminators trying to kill the Cloverfield monsters, what would you tell my friend?
Is your friend you?
He said if he had a friend say that they thought the alien invaders in this movie were potential bug cleaners cleaning up the Cloverfield monster, what would you say to that person?
I would say gambling is a disease.
I would say that person has a seat open on our podcast, because you're probably wrong. You can sit right next to me.
Okay, thank you for your question, sir. Yeah, right here, right where you are with the thing. There you go. Yep.
So, I'm really glad you mentioned The Last of Us. I'm wearing a shirt right now.
Oh, yeah?
Everyone's wearing a shirt, sir.
Such a good game. Yeah, everyone's wearing a shirt. Calm down.
Easy. You like dogs? Everybody likes dogs. Go ahead.
So, with all the ARG kind of stuff and like bringing these experiences kind of closer to real life, would you ever consider trying to convince Bad Robot to do like an escape the room experience with this kind of setup?
Oh, that's so right.
Terrific.
Oh, you mean a live action thing?
Like a room. You ever seen those
We
escape
should have
rooms?
already done. Yeah, we should have done that already. It would have been great marketing.
Yeah, that's actually right now. Good luck trying to get out of the theater. An awesome idea. Turns out you were right. We're all in a lot of trouble.
All in an escape room. That's a fantastic idea. Or at least maybe like Universal Studios Horror Nights,
Right.
Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, yeah.
Do like a bunker or something with John Goodman's bucket of farts. What about this guy waving his hand with the black shirt? Yep. Yeah, you. The one that just turned around.
You
Yep,
know
got
what
it.
color your shirt is?
Go ahead.
We went over here. Hold on.
Oh, we have another one?
Oh, okay, so you hold off, sir. You over here first.
All right. I just want to ask, what was your inspiration for the alien spaceship hybrid at the end? I won't lie. I thought I was expecting a kaiju because it's the whole Cloverfield thing. I thought it was gonna look just like that one, or something similar to it. But I would just want to know what your inspiration for those designs were.
I was big on making a ship that felt organic. I love the idea of a ship being a creature also. JJ was this is for both the creature and the ship. And JJ was very fixated on feeling armored and mechanical with some organic stuff. So the even just the creature itself. I know you were asking about the ship, but the creature is sort of this hybrid of both of our ideas. On the one hand, something feeling very icky, that worm, but also being armored. And the ship sort of resembled what that little version of it was, that little creature. And the tentacle, for me, that stuff always, I love looking at that deep sea Marianas Trench stuff, because those are real life things that look horrifying. I love the idea of making an alien species that felt like something from our own deep sea, and that's where some of the look of that came from.
Ooh. Okay. Well, the other guy over here, yeah, who has the mic? Yeah.
All right. So after all this, after the entire movie, I know there's a question that everyone wants to ask: is Swamp Pop in game?
Okay, so for those of you that are like, what? There's an ARG, a game associated with the film, that is so cool, and it's seriously kind of like almost as if there was a novelization of this film where you could read backstories about all these characters. It's super rad. And from the very beginning, there were images from the trailer that showed off the characters drinking Swamp Pop,
right,
which is a drink from Louisiana.
Right.
And
it's so funny because you kept on saying, I remember when first listening to that, you kept on saying, there's these images from set where they're just the crew's hanging out drinking stuff, and I think Steve mentioned, but I was like, it's in the trailer. There's shots of it in the trailer.
Yeah.
There's no like spy photos of Swamp Pop.
Yeah.
It just was in the trailer. Yeah.
It's just, well, I think it's, because people have seen it in the movie and because it seems like the Swamp Pop company is real,
Yeah.
you can actually buy Swamp Pop drinks. But it seems like they kind of hitched a ride on the ARG a little bit with sending people puzzle pieces and such. So what this man is saying, can you even put to rest if Swamp Pop is in-game?
The funny thing about Swamp Pop is I've never drank it before. I'm not a drinker.
Not missing much.
So I don't know. I don't know much about Swamp Pop. But in the same sense, I so enjoyed your guys' discussion, and it would be so sad to confirm or deny.
You're just gonna leave it.
You're gonna leave it
one
open.
of your opinions, but one of you guys was often very right about things, and one of you was often very wrong.
Huh. Now, if the past is any indication,
You don't need to go any further with it. I'll take it there. I'll take it with that.
I'll take your apology, whatever.
Where do we have the mics now? How about over here? Or where do we have a mic?
Right here.
There we go. There we go. Go for it.
Dude, the sound is coming from the
Hi.
same place, but the people are all over. Okay, there
They're
she
all
is.
over the place. Hi, Dan. I really enjoyed the movie, and I was just wondering, I love when I watch TV or movies, anything that's I would describe as like a bottle episode of a television show, and you force people into a small location.
Yeah.
And, I felt like you did such a great job with this, and I was kind of wondering, though, what effect that had on your making a monster movie, that it had to be so contained, and if there's something that maybe you thought it benefited more, or something you thought that you had to leave out.
I love bottle episodes also. The interesting thing is coming from commercials and then doing movies. Commercials, you usually are making the ordinary feel extraordinary because you're telling a very concise story and you sort of put a magnifying glass over the mundane and make it feel special. And movies is the opposite. Movies is taking the extraordinary and making it feel grounded and ordinary. And I feel like the cool thing is this movie is very much a combination of both those things. I love digging into that small location and highlighting these little details and making things feel, even just her grabbing the keys in that moment, making that feel big and special. And then also there's some very heightened things that was really fun to ground visually and the stuff towards the end, but even with the humor that every character has. Emmett's stuff, and even Mary just saying this sucks in the middle of the thing, grounded everything. So I've always responded to that. I dug Cloverfield for that, and I love Signs, actually. I love these movies that are little slivers, of we've seen the giant version, here's the intimate small version. Children of Men, I think, does something similar. So, yeah.
Cool. This woman has had her hand up for quite a while. Why don't you just scream at us?
I love the scene, and it made me when John Goodman. Did they have to rehearse that a lot, or was he into it when he shot Emmett?
Was he into it when he shot Emmett?
Super looking forward
Was he ready to kill that character?
I think John Goodman really, really loved all the physical stuff. Because there weren't as many lines to have to remember, but also I just felt like it seemed like he felt like a kid doing all those things, and so shooting the gun I think was part and parcel with that. He really did dig that, and there's actually we did shoot a version that we never wanted to use, but my AD really had a bloodlust and was like, we gotta at least just do it, we're all here, where we saw Emmett getting shot in the head, and it was horrifying. And we put it in the movie at one point and got an R rating, and then we...
Oh man, could that be in like a director's cut or
no,
a
because
deleted scene?
that would not be directed. I mean, that was never what I would have wanted for
Yeah.
the movie. But it was pretty brutal.
The man in the USC.
Goodman had fun doing it.
Oh no, the one next to him, right? You've got the mic? Yeah.
Hi, how's it going? I just wanted to say it feels really, really great being in a theater full of Cloverfield fans, because when the first film came out 8 years ago, every single one of my friends hated it, and I was the only person that loved it. So I just want to say it feels great being here. Feel the love. My question's for Dan. Great job with the film. I just wanted to, you're talking about you love video games, and I love video games too, and in Hollywood it seems like they just haven't gotten it right with video game films. Like House of the Dead came out and I'm like, that's not House of the Dead. Resident Evil, I'm like, what the hell is this? Silent Hill, kind of accurate. But is there a certain video game or a franchise that you would love to do to translate that from a game to a movie?
Years ago my answer would have been different, but the tricky thing with that for me now, I mean, the answer is like I would love to find the game to do, but at the same time, games now are so awesome and feel like such complete narrative and visceral, exciting experiences that I can't help but feel like a movie version would be the less than version. Back in the day, like Nintendo games had these awesome premises, and the covers were like these painted awesome, and like that game looked so amazing, and then the game itself were these did not live up to that experience.
Yeah, you buy it for the cover.
Right. I did buy some games for the cover. But now it's like I can't help but feel even it's the real hill to climb with Uncharted, because that game is so well written, so fun. So many great cinematic moments happen in the game, and you're in control, and you feel like you're making the moments even more awesome. And the movie, at least for me, even if it's as good as the game, I would just want to be copying the game, which is sort of a less fun experience when you're creating something. So the trick is to find the thing, which at the time is what I enjoyed about doing that Portal short, even though I never intended for that to be what the ultimate movie version of it should be. It was fun to take a puzzle game that I think is inherently uncinematic and make that feel like a movie. Because Halo, Uncharted, any of those games are all stem from movies anyway, but Portal didn't. But at the same time, Portal, the game, has such a great narrative, and it's so great because you discover things yourself. So even making a movie out of that is a real challenge.
So maybe we should see Dan Trachtenberg's Pong, the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna pitch Tetris.
Tetris.
Yeah, like what if they're in the bunker and the camera backs out and they're just in the long Tetris piece? Oh, here comes another bunker and another one.
By the way,
yeah,
something's happening here.
You could have that.
Yeah.
You could.
You're the director.
What about this man with the green armband? That's what you're wearing.
People tonight have no idea what they're wearing.
director, about this level of collaboration that's going on. You were talking about obviously you're the director, but then JJ comes in with ideas as well, and you have a script that you're kind of sticking to very specifically.
Yeah.
What was your creative freedom with that, and how did JJ did he overrule you on some decisions? Like, what was that interaction?
Working with him was awesome because I'm sure like you guys really admired him for so many years and loved allowing myself like to occasionally geek out with him. But he was shooting Star Wars while we were shooting this. But somehow miraculously he still found the time to watch all of our dailies. And just the thought of him being on the set of Jakku or the Millennium Falcon looking at shots from this movie was so awesome. And I would wake up in the morning to emails from him saying like, great inserts, love the inserts you're getting. And like when we shot the airlock scene, he just wrote like airlock, exclamation point, exclamation point. He was really good about putting wind in our sails when we were shooting. But then we were in post, we were both editing together. And then he finished Star Wars. And then we were still working, so he came in and was really helpful, specifically with sound design. He had such a great ear with sound design. I think the sound in this movie kicks ass, almost literally, and pace as well. And because pace in this movie was very tricky. There's a lot of slow burn moments, but there's also ones that really wants to pick up, and he was really helpful throughout that whole thing.
Speaking of the soundscape, at the end I was like, that fire is loud. I never noticed around Christmas time how loud a fire can get. That was a deafening fire.
This man is going absolutely nuts over here with his hands. What do you? This isn't the Price is Right, sir.
You know, I'm not going to reject you.
Let's make a deal. Good evening, everyone. I'm sure everyone here thanks you for coming out and answering some questions. Dan, I'd like to ask you.
I'm terrified right now. Truly terrified.
Very slow, prodding question.
This man's got tension.
No, it's like a two-part question.
Okay.
Okay. What do you do to unwind after finishing a movie? You know, something to get away from production and stuff like that. And
what's part two? Should I answer part one? Yeah.
She wanted to know about the camera shots.
What
kind of camera you were using?
That's a good question, yeah.
We shot the movie on a Red Dragon.
Yes.
I can tell you, interestingly, now that you guys, I've never talked to people that have just seen the movie. It's crazy. But we initially, this is just to still answer that technical question. We initially shot the whole end sequence, the whole movie shot anamorphic, super widescreen 240, and but the end sequence we shot spherically, because at the time, I mean, the ultimate dream would have been, wow, wouldn't it be so cool if the end was shot in IMAX and we could release this movie in IMAX? But I was like, oh, well, that'll never happen. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could sort of recreate that experience by shooting spherically for the end, which is a 1:8:5 aspect ratio, which is slightly less widescreen, so you would see the movie would be letterboxed throughout, and then at the end they would shift up. When it cuts that wide shot, you would then lose that, and everything else would be filling the frame.
And it almost feels like you breathe, you come out of the bunker, you know.
Right, it would have.
It opens everything up.
Ultimately, we were not able to do that just because of budget and time, and because when you're rendering special effects, it's like literally that. Just eliminating that part of the frame makes things go that much faster so we could finish. So we didn't do that in the end, but it was a really cool idea, I thought, and that hadn't really been done really. So it's a shame it didn't happen.
Somebody's computer couldn't handle it.
What was that?
Someone's computer couldn't handle it.
Too slow.
Needs some more RAM, but you can still see it in IMAX.
Yes, of course you can still see it in IMAX.
Massively
yeah,
huge.
and frankly, the framing is actually much cooler in 240 than it was when we took that off. So. I am glad with the final result.
Have
I think
you
it's better.
seen it in IMAX yet? Have you, or at least like any?
We did some of the color, the color in IMAX.
It's so rad. I want to see that end sequence in IMAX so bad.
And the unwinding video games. I played a lot of. Even when we were shooting the movie, Destiny had just come out. I was playing Destiny when I would come home, and Diablo on PlayStation.
Diablo's great. There's a man over here with the mic.
Hello. I just want to say I really enjoyed the movie. It was awesome.
Awesome.
And also, I interned at Smodco, so thank you for planting that seed in Kevin Smith.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate that.
Cool.
My question is, was there any talks in including the original monster from Cloverfield into the story, or making it more of a direct sequel instead of, I guess JJ put it, it's a blood relative?
Right.
Was there any talks to actually make it like more connected than it was?
Not really. I mean, I think if they were to make a direct sequel, that would be its own beast. To use a bad pun.
Nice pun.
But this always was intended to be its own freestanding story.
All right, 2 more questions. Who's got some super good ones? This man is stretching out. What do you got?
I wanted to know, my name's Chris, by the way, and I love this shirt.
Thank you, my pet monster.
I have a My Pet Monster at home.
Do you? I want one so
Like,
bad.
Orange.
My mom never let me have one because she was like terrified of it. So I have.
Remember that it came with a beach? There was like a show.
Yeah. And it was like a little person.
The little
in a
guy,
suit,
and
right?
it ran really quick.
So strange.
Do you like my shirt or no?
Your shirt's not great.
Okay.
I was just wondering, what swayed you to make this movie like more psychological thriller, and then you have that sci-fi like right at the end? Was there any like sway in that?
That was what the original script was. What was so awesome, I thought, was that it was this pot boiler that boils and boils and boils and boils and then erupts in a way like no other movie erupts. And that you can I think you can compare parts of this movie to other movies. There's certainly a lot of misery and Dead Calm, which is one of my favorite movies in most part, but it was so hard to find comparison to any other movie. I oftentimes I would think of maybe From Dusk Till Dawn, but From Dusk Till Dawn, it's at the 60-minute mark. And Psycho is the first 30 minutes is one kind of thing, and then it changes. But nothing really goes as far as this goes. And for me, it was almost like wish fulfillment for all those times you would get in the car after seeing a movie with your buddy and say, that was awesome, but wouldn't it have been crazy if like at the end then you had to, and this finally was the like, yeah, we're doing that crazy thing. We're gonna just do it and we'll see what happens. So that was always what I was most excited about.
Can I just say real quick that when she's out of the bunker and she's being taken up in the car, taken up towards the ship, she was so calm during that whole process. I would have been shaking McGillicuddy. I would have thrown the thing. It would have bounced off the rim.
It seemed to me like she had accepted her fate almost. Like, well, this is it. I'm gonna get eaten by an alien. And that's what it seemed like to me. I don't know. Is that?
Yeah,
what
but then
the,
there's and then.
But then I mean, for me, that's like she's been spending the whole time running away and
she's tired.
but also now she's become the warrior, that's her final last moment of being the hero.
That's like her Ripley airlock moment when she shoots the alien out in Alien.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
All right, who has the
Right up
greatest question ever in the world? There it is. No pressure. Easy.
Yeah, no pressure. Congratulations on your first feature film.
Thank you.
And my question was, it's kind of a two-part question. What was the most stressful thing about your first feature film and the most joyous part?
That's great. Love that.
Are those both parts of the question? Cool.
Yes, stressful and joyous.
Stressful, aside from that, doing that first shot, that was insane, and an insane choice by me to do first. There was a moment when we were shooting the biggest action, when we first started doing the outside stuff, where Mary had the flu. She had 102-degree fever, and I was so sick that I lost my voice. I had zero voice, and I don't know if I am that inessential as a director, or am just really good at charades, that we were still able to make it all happen. But that was really terrifying. Honestly, the most joyous moment for me was in the prep phase when we were going over the designs of the bunker and looking at blueprints and stuff, and we're sitting in a sterile office, and I'm there with a bunch of grown men and women talking and taking very seriously the idea of make-believe. And that realization was like, wow, this is just like when I was a kid in my backyard with my action figures making movies, because I'm just a grown up, and we're doing that in offices, and like it was so awesome, and so much fun, and that was a great realization to have very early on.
Well, Dan, thank you so very much.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, guys, thank you guys for coming out.
Glad you dug it.
Movie's amazing. Guys, see it again. Let's go see it in IMAX, like next week or something. Let's plan it out and all see it together in IMAX. Thank you so much. Thank you, dude.